Hello everyone, my name is Kieran Mullen and I'm here with you today because I recently sat down with the boss lady, the leader and the all-round superwoman in Whitney Tuna. Now of course Whitney Tuna is the co-director and co-founder down here at Champions Gym, but she's also a super hard-working individual and an incredibly inspiring human being to be around every day. Stay tuned to find out why. Who was Whitney before Muay Thai?
I was at uni, I was working part-time, and I was definitely in my partying days. In terms of my body, I definitely just lost control. So I went from a tiny 50 kilo girl to a 65 kilo beast.
So when did it begin to change?
One of my really, really good friends who was in that same stage as me, he snapped out of it and started training at another Muay Thai gym. And he was always a big guy, so loved KFC, loved beers and stuff like that. And then suddenly he lost 30 kilos. So from this guy that was super overweight, lazy, to super motivated, he found something that he just loved. And he had this six pack and this glowing personality. So I saw how much it changed him. And he couldn't shut up about Muay Thai, so I was like, I've got to give this a shot.
What about when you were younger? Were you always an active kid?
For me, sport was a huge release. So I've talked about it a bit before, but I came from a pretty hectic household. Mum and Dad were both into their drinking and alcohol. So being active was a way to escape that. So if there was a team, if there was a sport that took me away from home, I'd sign up before you could even sign up.
So obviously getting into Muay Thai was sort of making you face these things or giving you an even bigger outlet for not facing these things.
Yeah, so definitely avoiding what I needed to face. But at the same time, it kind of gave me the family that I suppose I was looking for at the time.
Yeah.
And also the structure I never had at home. So it was basically me and my sister just making up our own rules and, teaching ourselves how to cook, teaching ourselves to be little independent women and how it should work. Muay Thai was definitely the first thing that I felt instantly connected with.
We fast forward and you've started training now. At what point do you decide that you want to fight?
Well, obviously, I'm the type of person who rushes everything in life. If I do something, it's 150%. I generally make mistakes and then fix things later. So the first, I'd say 2 years, I didn't take it seriously. I was still partying a bit. It wasn't an instant transformation. And then when I graduated uni, I was like, okay, I really, really want to do this. Can
you describe the feeling of actually getting in there and competing and how it made you feel about yourself?
So I think your first fights, it's you have no idea what to expect. You have no idea what you're putting yourself into or how hard it's going to be, the weeks leading up to it. But I think for me, win or lose, you just walk out down the steps of the ring and it's wow, amazing. It's the best drug you can ever take.
And how does it feel when you get the win?
Huge. It's for me, it's a feeling that's hard to celebrate.
So obviously there's two sides of the coin and experiencing defeat is something that might likely happen. So what are some of the biggest hurdles you've faced, both as an athlete and just with yourself?
I think when I originally first started fighting, my weight division was very empty. So my third fight was against a girl that had 12 fights. I won that, and then my fourth fight was actually a rematch and I won that again. And then my fifth fight was a girl that had 18 fights, and I completely just lost the plot mentally, and it ended up in a round 1 TKO. For me, that was the best turning point for my Muay Thai. It was you can either level up or you can stop. Was that your hardest loss to date? I'd say so, yeah.
You do run quite a successful business. You probably could sit back and just run it and let it grow as it is, but you continue to fight. And why is that?
It's just a huge personal goal for me. When you're I'll paint the picture. So you're in round 5, you've got absolutely no energy, you haven't recovered from round 4, and you think you can't go on, and your corner's yelling things at you, and and trying to tell you, you know, what you need to go and do. And then all of a sudden you get this fresh bout of energy and you go in there and you completely shock yourself.
When you started Champions Gym, where did you see it going?
At this stage, I was only dating my husband. He was miserable where he was at in his life. He was at uni. Anyone knows Pomon, he's not the type to be in any system because he's so creative. And I said, hey, I've seen this place for lease. Let's just go have a look at it. Because I could see he could do more. He's got so much talent and drive. And he was like, no, I can't do this. And I just pushed him across the line because I get a lot of fulfillment out of seeing other people succeed.
I've known you for quite a few years now, and I have seen you give a lot back. So you said that you love to help others, but one thing I've noticed is that you never want any praise for it. You don't like being in the spotlight. So even now, I'm sure you feel a little bit awkward being on camera, but you do give a lot back and you do break the stereotype, and you are like looked up to by a lot of women. Yeah. So how does that make you feel?
Yeah, I suppose for me, like, I prioritize like genuine relationships over like status or likes. Social media makes me totally uncomfortable. And I think it's just flooded with girls that maybe, you know, I don't look up to. If I could help one person, I'd be so happy. Is
that something you try and drive through Champions Gym?
Yep, like, you know, with our coaches, with our recruitment, with our reception staff, it's just like having that goal or the mission to help people.
You take every challenge head on. So, you know, you've had 2 knee recons. So can you describe or take us back to the feeling of what it's like when your body can no longer go, but you want to?
It was 10 seconds of round 2 in Melbourne on live TV. I kicked and I just looked down at my knee and I was like, you just know, like, you know, it's not good. It wasn't.
Especially if you've had one.
Yeah, it's the similar feeling. It's like a snap in your knee. And I couldn't kick, I couldn't push kick. I could basically do some pretty shitty punches and try and grapple. And my thing after fights is to get a strawberry thick shake from McDonald's. And I remember celebrating with that thick shake, knowing I got through 5 rounds with 1 ACL.
Lastly, you do have a fight coming up.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, so my last fight was my comeback fight from my knee recon. At the same time, I was dealing with opening this place. My auntie also died a week after my fight, which was really hard for me. And I was just in like a survival mode. So it definitely wasn't my best performance. I'm super happy with coming back, but I've had so much time to relay my foundations. So I just feel like I'm ready to come out of that dip. I'm ready to go and be myself again, and give myself permission to do that. So super fit, mentally in such a better place.